1, 2, 3, 4. Let me take a look at what do you got? I'm pulling to the speculation station a lot. Speculation station.
Hello.
Hello!
My name's Will.
My name's Tom.
This is the Speculation Station podcast,
Where we podcast about speculations and stations.
He's explained it so well. One of us brings in a mystery object. This week it's me.
Yeah, that guy's called Will.
And this week Tom is going to speculate about it. To be honest, we're both going to speculate about it.
Yeah, but I choose the general topic and the general idea of what we're talking about. And this guy kind of guides us a little
And
bit.
we go wherever we like.
Yeah.
And you're along for the journey. Isn't that exciting?
I hope it's exciting.
It is. Say yes. Yes, it's exciting. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Tom. So, it's time for the mystery object.
Okay, what's the mystery object this week?
We have to close your eyes first.
No. Okay.
Hold out. Yeah, just one hand.
Left or right? Do you have a preference?
Left, sinister, rather than Dexter. Here we go. That made a good thud.
Oh, it feels like a wallet.
It's similar to a wallet. What is that? Describe what you feel.
Okay, so I feel a leather sort of exterior, or faux leather. I'm not
Are you
clear.
saying I'm too cheap to buy real leather?
I'm assuming it's got the exterior of a wallet, but it has the structure of a moleskin notebook.
Oh!
So that's what it feels like. It's got an elastic band closing it, which is what made me think notebook or diary.
Yeah, open it up.
Oh, it's not. It's not a notebook. There's no pages.
What is in there?
Pouches. Oh, it feels like a wallet to me still.
There's something sizable in there. What's that you just put your hand on?
I'm sliding something out.
What could it be?
Square.
What's that size? What's that shape? Come on. You know this. You know what
It's
this
a little
is.
booklet.
What would we take with us as a little booklet very often?
I Spy. Oh, passport.
It's a passport, you fuck!
Oh, and a lovely passport case, might I add.
Yes, we bought these online. I have a nice red one. My wife has a nice blue one.
Oh, that's lovely, and it's actually got the passport thing on the outside. Have you heard that the argument since Brexit, that they're thinking of making the, because this is obviously the European colour of passport, they're making it blue, like the original British passport, to bring some kind of
for some reason, the topic of quite a lot of controversy. The blue passport.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to judge you on your passport photo.
No one has a good passport photo,
No,
right?
no, mine is fucking awful.
And he's just laughing at it immediately. What do I look like to you?
Yeah, you kind of look like a youth offender.
Yes.
Everyone kind of looks like...
Yeah, because you can't smile, so you look like an absolute thug.
And you've got a bit of a wonky look on your face, so you look like you've been punched in the jaw.
Is it the same as my driving licence? Yeah, it is. I took these on the same day.
Yeah, no,
I've got a hoodie on, I look grey and grim.
With my passport photo, I was like really tired, like I hadn't got any sleep the night before, so I had bags under my eyes, and I had this sort of a horrible messy beard, not like a crafted full beard, not like
just
like,
scruffy.
and I was like, I had my mouth aghast open, and you don't look much better, and your eyes are like slightly
my eyes are really
offset.
sunken and,
Yes, you look depressed.
I look cold and unfeeling.
But that is the nature of this is wonderful. Great choice. And I say the pouch made it all the better because this helped me not guess.
Yes, yeah, the pouch is really useful for holding boarding passes.
Yes.
And so on when you're travelling. It's really, really useful.
Well,
I believe it's also ARFID blocking. So.
It's kind of like the modern phone case.
Yeah.
Which
it
has
is.
like, a credit card slot or...
Exactly.
So
and it adds a certain je ne sais quoi to the outside of the object itself.
Absolutely.
So, let's conceptualise what you think of in terms of concepts and ideas, anything at all, situations, people, when it comes to passports.
Immediately travel.
Okay, I'm going to write down travel.
I think, and when I think of you generally, and I know this is a caricature, but I do think of a sort of jet-setting sort of angle where you're travelling from port to port, skiing in Marrakesh and
Skiing in Marrakesh
and skydiving in, like the Sahara.
Those are two places where there's activities generally don't.
Precisely why I chose them, sir.
You're so wonderfully off kilter.
So it does make me think of that idea of a kind of again kind of any kind of jet setting sort of highly travel. Also makes me think of classic spy stories as well. You get a lot of like faking
the fake passports.
The fake passports.
They have like a safe or a briefcase full of 1,000 passports.
Either that or a criminal, of course, or a hitman. They have hundreds of passports. Or terrorist.
Okay.
You know, so if you want to be a member, you do look like a member of ISIS in the photograph. If anyone can see, I better not show too much detail.
Yeah, exactly. If I can show my passport details, passport number, date of birth, my address.
We'll fuzz that out, don't
Everything
worry.
you need to know to take on someone's identity. So, the approach I'd like to take then. Jet setting is something you've mentioned just then, and jet setting is very, very cool indeed. Let's consider someone who's thrown into a jet-setting lifestyle.
So, do they already have a passport when they start the jet-setting lifestyle?
That's all they've got. A passport.
No money?
No money.
Okay, I like this.
No prior attachment to overseas endeavours, situations, or people.
Okay, so that's a good starting place. So, what is this? Are you thinking? Are you imagining a life, a story, or
A story, a happening. Something happens to someone.
So, kind of like the beach.
Yeah, like the beach.
It's
That's a good
somebody
way of
running
putting it.
away, kind of thing.
Someone who's already travelling and then they're thrown into an even greater adventure.
Let's drill in on the person then.
Yes.
Who, with just a passport, would run away from their life?
A grey person. Someone with a grey life, a grey family, nothing
Okay,
that's
so
happening.
someone with depression, or someone
Oh, I like that idea.
with depression, or let's say some kind of other emotional issue, or maybe had some family members die, or
Yeah, something's happened to them. Yeah, I like that.
Some family members died, or maybe they lost their job.
Here's an idea. What about someone whose grandfather has just passed away?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And that grandfather won a competition in the 1950s that awarded them a lifetime of free air travel with a certain airline.
Wow,
right?
okay,
And they
yes.
never used it.
I love this
And they
immediately.
passed it on to this guy in their will, and suddenly this guy feels like, oh, I've got an opportunity, right? But what incentivizes them to
That's
take
what
that
I mean.
opportunity?
Something shit's got to be going on in this person's life.
They've got to run away from something, right?
Yeah, I think they've got to be running away from a life that they don't like. So it doesn't have to be anything spectacular. So, but what kind of thing would drive someone, say if they lived in the UK, say if they lived in any kind of modern Western country, what would drive them to move away, to live away from there?
Well, to tie it back into the story itself, perhaps the grandfather left a lot of debts behind.
Debt!
So let's say everything has passed on to this poor soul. The lifetime of free flights, the debts, the estates, any properties, everything has passed to this person.
Oh, yes, and, the hit. So there's somebody hunting down revenge on his grandfather, and now wants revenge on him, or whatever.
Yes, carry on the revenge. Or there's something even more sinister going on that they are connected to that they don't know about.
Like a network, like some espionage, spies.
Yes, the grandfather had something hidden or knew something. What's happened to
his
that?
grandfather was a secret member of ISIS, or
Yes.
whatever. Yeah, okay.
And maybe in the grandfather's will, he said to this person, we'll think of a name for them in just a moment, not only do I want you to take on this lifetime of free travel with this airline, I want you to go to this place and this place and this place. I want you to go to here, here and here, see these people and explore these parts. And really, although it sounds like a magical adventure, what it really is the grandfather setting this person on a trail to find something or cover something up, right?
Yes, and it's sort of obviously again, this feels like it's got a little bit of a. It starts off with the air of a coming of age story, but it kind of ends, so it moves towards a kind of more tragic element. Maybe not an actual death of maybe won't lead to the death of the protagonist, but this idea of he goes hoping for an adventure in life, and it ends up being like captured by Somalian pirates or. That kind of stuff.
Maybe the tragedy is in discovering something you didn't want to know about the people you thought you loved, right? Specifically the grandfather, the family in general. And you think, okay, I can get close to these people, but really what happens, the tragedy is that you find that you're nothing like them.
To bring up, obviously, current affairs or fairly recent affairs, of course, and I don't necessarily mean it needs to be something as egregious as this, but of course there's Michael Jackson.
Oh.
right? You find out something about somebody you loved and cared about that completely changes your thoughts and feelings about.
So maybe either the grandfather and or other family members are actually quite well known. They're famous in their own right.
Maybe not necessarily hugely famous, but did something awful.
Well, no, but maybe
they had renown.
Maybe they did something great, and it turns out that actually beneath that was something awful.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be as bad as Michael Jackson. That's
allegedly,
but
please don't send your lawyers after the Speculation Session podcast.
Yeah, we have no money to give for a start.
Apart from our lawyers, we keep on retainer.
Oh yes.
Hello, lawyer.
Please don't sue us. Oh no, wait. You protect us.
Please protect us from being sued. So,
anyway,
quod quides? They always speak in Latin.
I've heard that. Anyway, so
I don't know why you're doing his little bird arms. I know that means you want to speak. For those who are just listening, he's giving me bird hands that tells me he wants to speak. Thus, you must speak.
So, I'm forced to gesture by my natural personality.
Of course, you must gesture audibly for the podcast.
So this person, so maybe the grandfather. So his grandfather was like maybe a hero. So what? Let's talk about
supposed hero.
So let's talk about this grandfather figure because I think this is a really important character.
Actually, let's give this guy a name first. Who's the protagonist? Who is this guy?
I actually think we should name the grandfather first.
Oh, that's interesting. He'll give us the family name, which is useful.
Because this person should be prominent and famous. Whereas the person who follows after him doesn't have to be. So why was the grandfather famous or prominent or renowned?
Good question. Some kind of humanitarian effort.
Ooh, yeah, okay, yeah, I like that. So it's really good.
Because then the fall from grace is even harder.
So he's a bit of a Mother Teresa sort of figure, a bit of a Gandhi.
Mother Teresa was actually kind of an objectively awful person.
Same with Gandhi,
right? Yeah,
yeah,
same as Gandhi. So maybe let's go the kind of the Gandhi Teresa route of an incredibly forceful ideology.
So maybe like a Doctors Without Borders sort of thing.
I like that, but actually what was happening was he was doing something horrible.
Yes.
That we don't want to say because of current climate.
Yeah, we'll work it out as we go. I think what his awful thing
but
was.
The grandfather was essentially heading a Doctors Without Borders type organisation.
Yeah, Without Borders. Yeah, I love it. So yeah, and basically using it. So maybe it could be something as simple as he was arms smuggling or weapon smuggling. It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be something so on the nose. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, it's something as simple as smuggling
drugs,
minerals, resources out of a country while pretending to help the people there.
So using or doing Mengele type research on the.
Oh, that's awful. Well done.
the human the patients. For smuggling or research, we'll work out as we go. So
both. You could be researching on them, and
smuggling and
he's researching certain illnesses, and he's sending these poor people from this region over to the more developed West where they can be treated in hospitals. What he's doing is he's maybe putting them under anaesthetic. Cutting them open, hiding diamonds inside, closing them up, sending to the West where they're going to be treated, but actually all they're going to be doing is sent to the West where they're going to be opened up and harvested, both for diamonds and organs.
Stealing diamonds and organs.
Yeah, why not? You're already there.
That sounds like a great ploy. What's this guy's fucking name?
Okay, something quite hard and prestigious. Okay, so I'm thinking a first name like Cave. Or cat, or
I get what you're getting because I can feel like like Carter or
Carter. I'm writing that down.
Is that a surname?
No, Carter can be a first name.
I like it because that's very American.
I'm thinking of it as a first name.
Yeah, okay, I like that. Carter
Wainwright.
Oh,
right,
of the Boston Wainwrights.
That's where his family come from.
Carter.
I'll be very surprised if you and I have both spelt Wainwright the same way.
Nope, because mine's spelt definitely wrong.
Oh wait, we have. Oh no, I've had an extra W before the R. Wainwright.
Oh, you did Wainwright.
Wainwright. I like how the presence of a W enforces the rolling of the R. Wainwright.
It just adds a smoothness to the sound.
Carter Wainwright. Love that.
Yeah.
It sounds like an old money name.
Yeah. So yeah, Carter Wainwright. So maybe they come from a. Let's say Boston family, since we were
Boston money, old money.
Yeah, but not necessarily one of the big ones.
Just enough to be.
They got decent money.
Okay,
they're very sort of wealthy. Sort of. They made their money in the gold or in the Comstock or whatever. Like back in the day. In the pioneering days of America.
So who's the grandson? Who's our protagonist? Something Wainwright.
It's got to have a weak name.
Yeah, something weaker. Something like, I was going to say Melody, that's a girl's name. But maybe he's been given a girl's name. Maybe his mother always wanted
Like
a girl.
Menzies.
Menzies, I like that. Yes, or, our British politician Menzies Campbell, which is pronounced Ming Campbell.
Yeah.
No idea why, but that's how it's done. But we'll say Menzies.
Menzies Wainwright.
No idea how to spell that, so we'll just...
I do, but...
Oh, yeah? I'm going to copy your work. Oh, I thought there'd be an I in it, but
It might
whatever.
be, but that's not how I've known to spell it.
Okay, so he's our protagonist, right?
Okay, so... And he's always looked up to his grandfather, great Carter Wainwright, so maybe he's following in his footsteps.
Yeah, and in fact, the grandfather's will stipulates that I want you to follow my footsteps.
Is he already a doctor, or is he like a nurse, or something?
No one.
Oh, he's like a fucking...
He's fucking no one. He's nothing.
Tell you what, he's like properly like... So he's... Because he's in one of those rich families, he's been pushed in all directions and been given everything he wants, but he's got no direction.
He's got nowhere at all. Love it.
Yeah, and so basically he's just...
Layabout playboy almost?
Yeah, but without the charm, or the sex. No, he's got nothing. He's really sad. So this is the moment that kicks his life into gear. He's like, yes, I get to finally be my grandfather, and I have to be. I don't have any choice, right? Because there's nobody else to fulfill the legacy because everyone else died of dysentery or something. Probably not dysentery in this situation.
VD.
Yeah,
perhaps. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. That he's a playboy without any of the sex and charm, etc.
Yeah. So he's no.
What does the grandfather's will stipulate exactly? I have free air travel on this airline.
Yeah.
But I want you to make something of yourself. So actually the grandfather, let's say, had a certain journey in his life. Started off in this country doing this thing, moved around the world. So actually wants his grandson...
Not necessarily just precisely following his footsteps.
But generally,
Yeah, so maybe there's some locations he says, hey, I have some friends in Taiwan. I have some friends in... I
want you to go see my friend in Taiwan,
then
I want you to shadow the kind of quarry master of our diamond mine in Mogadishu or something.
Yeah, and of course, because he's got a diamond mine, but he's also a doctor. So this idea of you've got to go to all these war-torn areas, maybe if it's set in the modern era, somewhere like Syria, somewhere... where's another war-torn area in the world currently? Other than there's hundreds of them. My brain is like...
Yemen as
Yemen, that's a good example. Libya. Yeah.
Libya's kind of gone away by the wayside, but it's Yemen and Syria the big ones right now. Burma.
Of course, yeah.
South America, there are certain instabilities. Africa, there are certain instabilities.
So,
Yemen and Syria does us proud for now.
So let's since I think Syria's the one, so let's hit Syria as like where his Doctors Without Borders society and that's one of the big places he wants him to go.
I've got an overall idea for what's happening here, what the grandfather has schemed.
Hit me.
Okay. That's me hitting you.
Ow!
The people on video will know that was false. Falsified, manufactured, just like our stories. So, I reckon that, it's kind of oversimplified, but maybe the grandfather has sent the grandson around the world to meet all these different people, and at each location, one of these ne'er-do-well people are basically stashing something on this kid's person or in his possessions, like his bags and stuff. So everywhere he goes, he's picking up more stuff, whether it's drugs, diamonds, maybe medical records that are hiding something. And by the end of his trip, he's collected everything and he takes them back.
To destroy them is the original.
Or at least take them away from those places where they're more sensitive.
So he's covering up, but he's also like potentially continuing the work.
Yes, that's exactly it.
So maybe the grandfather actually wants to reveal the truth and try and convince his son it's right.
Maybe it's very grey and they're not sure by the end. Did grandfather want me to reveal the truth?
Yes.
Did he simply want me to cover up the truth? Did he want me to learn it for myself? Okay, so morally grey is like a good overriding arc here.
I think we've got a good starting place.
Yeah.
What we need for this is, in terms of an antagonistic force, is like an investigator. Right, somebody who's onto the grandfather, onto the family, in some way, who happens to keep bumping. He doesn't meet him everywhere, but every now and again does the whole thing of bumping in, and he just like asks a few interesting questions.
I'm gonna say she is a lady sent by like Interpol to investigate the family.
But what's her disguise? What's this person as a doctor, as a nurse, as a...
Does she need one? Is she
journalist?
Is she straight down the line and says, "This is who I am. This is what I do"?
I'm leaning more towards journalist than Interpol.
More towards because
that whole investigative journalism shtick is much more
exciting
and sexy.
And you don't have the hard backup
Exactly.
organization.
So I'm
like
almost
Interpol.
going sort of like not one backed up by a newspaper, even just somebody coming up with a story on their own, you know, and then selling the story when it's done, or writing a book about it. Yeah. So writing a book about this sort of corrupt diamond smuggling, body organ,
whatever
ring.
it is. Yeah, love that. And maybe our poor Menzies Wainwright kind of develops an infatuation with her that is not returned at all.
Of course, yes, not at all. Okay, so I love that basic area. So where's the first place that we should? So where's the first place he's sent? Menzies. Where's Menzies sent?
Somewhere in Africa.
Okay, so where?
Okay, Tanzania.
Okay.
Well, Tanzania has a history of conflict, but it's also an up-and-coming country, and there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's an interesting place for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so sent to Tanzania. I don't know if they have mineral resources like diamonds there. They could do.
I'm pretty sure they have gold for sure.
But maybe he's sent there to visit a medical camp rather than diamond mines or anything like that. Something that's much more human and dirty and visceral.
And they're people who knew his father there.
Exactly.
Some of them are dodgy, some of them are not.
Exactly, which makes it even more morally grey as to who this guy was and how much I should trust him or not, right? And how much I should believe in my grandfather's legacy. So Tanzania, helping people out, meeting both dodgy and non-dodgy people.
Does it meet the journalist at this point?
You've got to start it off quite early
what's
on.
the journalist called?
She is called Samantha Wickett.
So British?
Well, she doesn't have to be. She could be South African, Samantha Wickett.
Oh, okay. I quite like South African if it starts in Africa.
Because then you've got connections to Europe anyway.
South African, yeah.
Okay, South African journo.
Yeah.
And is she in the know about really what's going on? Has she got a hunch that she's just following him right now? Or maybe does she start by just simply, she wants to do a story about the great Carter Wainwright that develops into an understanding that something else was underneath this guy.
Yeah, my only question on that is investigative journalists don't work that way. They find dirt and then they dig.
True.
Yeah, they dig for more dirt.
Okay, so she knows something's up.
She knows something's wrong. I don't know what. Maybe like she discovered a body. One of the bodies had diamonds in it.
That's right.
And they were like, "Why is there diamonds in this body that's been sent back?" And they were already dead. There was no chance they were going to be treated. They were. This condition was not a curable condition. So
maybe there was a plane crash in the ocean, right? Carrying these bodies back, and they find it, and she's kind of tasked with reporting on it. She's like, "Oh, so there's a few discrepancies. We recovered these bodies, and they were meant to be sent back as live people for treatment, but the illnesses we found in their bodies were non-treatable. And then we did an autopsy, and there were fucking diamonds in this guy.
I love it.
Right?
Yeah, no.
That starts her off.
So she gets, and everybody else is just dismissing it as normal, cartel smugglers and everything.
Yeah.
But she's like, why is it in a patient? And starts digging about where the patient came from. And that's what brings her to Tanzania, which is the last place the grandfather was before he died and was shipped back to America.
These people had tags from. Love it. Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Let's do what we've done previously and try and imagine what the end game is for this. Because it's great for a story to try and think about how it ends, and that gives you a lot of stuff in the
Without revealing the end,
Oh, we don't want to know our twist in case we sell this as a teleplay or script to Joss Whedon of Hollywood fame. So I think it's the kind of thing where, in this case, a protagonist does have a positive ending.
I like that, yeah.
We discussed the tragedy earlier in terms of the tragedy of discovering that your family wasn't what you thought they were, but that can be a very positive idea of saying, well, I'm not those people, and I get to move onwards and upwards, right?
Yeah, I like that, yeah.
So maybe he helps the journalist at the end to shed light on his family dealings, and that,
of course he does. Yeah, I think he has to turn.
The sacrifice,
about the midpoint, or maybe even
he realizes, or
maybe a little later than that.
The sacrifice to be made is that he has to give up all of this wealth, this power, these connections of being part of that family, and disown himself from the family.
And give all the money to, maybe Doctors Without Borders. Médecins Sans Frontières. The French say.
Médecins Sans Frontières.
It sounds so much better in French.
It does. I mean, they're hardcore guys.
Yeah,
but the idea could be that's the arc for him. Going from this kind of bland playboy who cares about himself and his family's legacy to going to someone who cares more about other human beings and doesn't give a shit about legacy.
So let's talk about how he gradually uncovers this story about his grandfather.
Well, it's got to be helped by the journalist.
Yeah, but the journalist, they don't team up right away, I don't think, in Tanzania. I don't think that works. So I think
it's a steady progression of meeting more and more people connected to his grandfather. in every country, every stop. And as you say, some are dodgy, some aren't dodgy, but the dodgy ones leave him with this bad taste in his mouth.
Yeah, and some of them maybe make him an offer like they would have made his grandfather.
Yeah, exactly, thinking he must be the same.
So let's think, so we've already gone to Tanzania. What's another sweet location we can go to that's like where he learns where he meets like one of his father's confidants, where he learns a little bit of the dark side?
The Maldives, right?
Oh, okay.
And the grandfather in the will says, "Okay, I want you to go to Tanzania first. It's a much more dirtier type of operation for you, where you have to get into the nitty gritty of the hardships of life. As a reward for that, off to the Maldives you go. While you're there, look up my friend Bartholomew Custer."
Bartholomew Custer.
Right.
Okay,
who lives in the Maldives.
So Bartholomew Custer, and I assume this guy's also another dodgy doctor, or is he like
No, he's a
soldier?
So from my own trip to the Maldives, a lot of tanned retired white guys out there are retired pilots who go out to fly the seaplanes
because then he helped his father.
Exactly. So this Bartholomew was a runner, was a pilot who ran these diamonds and bodies and patients back and forth to places.
Right. Yeah, I get you.
Now lives in the Maldives, who runs his own like private aviation business and has his own private island. Right.
Oh, that he's bought on the proceeds of diamond smuggling or whatever it is.
People smuggling.
So maybe it's just general smuggling. Like that was heavily on diamonds because I think there's a lot of diamonds in Africa. And but also it's people smuggling, body smuggling, organ smuggling, as you say. But it could also be artifact smuggling. So they could be burying inside bodies. They could be putting artifacts. Into
what you're really
artworks.
saying is that his grandfather figured out international logistics and freight network where you could send anything of a certain illegal size wherever you wanted, inside ill people being sent to be treated.
Yeah, that's horrific.
That's a really cool idea.
It's really cartoony, but
yeah, but then stories are right.
Yeah, it's wonderfully ridiculous, right? So he just how do these two meet? How does he meet? What's this pilot called?
Bartholomew Custer.
Bartholomew Custer. How does he meet Bartholomew Custer?
The problem is, do we go for the easier route of saying that the grandfather's will stipulates where he goes and when, but that's very easy and it doesn't really give much motivation to plot forwarding? Or is it the case of from Tanzania...
Maybe Bartholomew picks him up there and flies him to another...
He's already got
I know your father.
Worth.
Come with me, we can show...
Yes.
And this is separate to the journalist who's got her own means of getting around.
Yeah, she won't be in the Maldives.
So
she was in Tanzania, not the Maldives. She'll be in the next place he goes to.
Exactly, you're right with me.
Yeah, right?
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
So Bartholomew picks him up in a plane.
Yes.
Bearing in mind that Menzies already has something of worth. Every stop he goes to, someone transplants something of worth onto his person or belongings, whatever it might be. That's why Bartholomew picks him up in his private plane.
So they keep giving him packages,
stuff, mementos of trips. Yeah. Here's a framed photo of your father that really contains like an equation or a code or a password.
It's got to be like cocaine lined in very thin strips.
I think cocaine's a bit overly simplistic, but I get you. Some kind of substance built into strips of colours into the photograph to make an image, or a painting.
Well, if there's a painting, and my dad was a picture restorer.
That's right.
And with the layers between the paintings, there's actually multiple layers in a painting, so you could easily put 2 layers of canvas, and between 2 layers of canvas hide something that was very thin. So whatever you can think of as very thin.
Hence why art historians often x-ray these things to take a look at the layers, and you can see
exactly, because I assume people have hidden diamonds in there and shit like that.
That's a cool idea. Yeah.
So that however it's hidden, it could be he's given some mementos that involve some smuggling and maybe this Bartholomew Custer he and he's British clearly. You can't not necessarily with the name Custer.
Anglo-American.
Yeah, I like Anglo-American sort of like...
With a mid-Atlantic accent. Oh, my name's Bartholomew Custer.
It's a bit of a Lloyd Grossman.
Lloyd Grossman, yes. Yeah. Am I British? Am I American? No one knows. Is it Australian? No one knows.
Yeah, it's not Canadian either. Right. So...
Like Fraser Crane and Fraser Fame and Niles, they were semi-mid-Atlantic.
Yeah, there's
American,
that posh American
enough to be kind
where
of
they try
British.
and emulate British a little bit.
Sherry Niles?
Yes. So yes, this Bartholomew Custer.
Yes.
So that he meets up thinking, oh, Menzies is in on his father's game, but not completely in. So his the grandfather said, oh, bring him in slowly, you know, like all this kind of stuff, you know, take on the air. So he thinks, oh, we're going to continue. So he's bringing him in, and so he maybe brings him to the Maldives. To maybe some glorious hotel.
Private islands, you know, there's some sprawling
like a beach
home complex, on a beach,
yeah, of course.
With a little
maybe a
dock with
private pool.
seaplane.
And I'm imagining Bartholomew is a little bit overweight now.
I like that. Yes,
Yeah,
a man,
quite hairy.
A man gone to seed, as we say.
Yeah. Proper hairy chest, doesn't care. You know, one of those greasy sort of looking guys, super tan.
Yeah, maybe played by Ray Winston.
I can imagine Ray Winston doing a fantastic job with this. Yeah, obviously he'd have to fat up because Ray Winston is pretty fucking well built these days.
He's a big dude.
He's got physical bigness. Yes.
Let's come back to our passport.
Yeah.
Are there any obstacles, challenges, conflicts for this Menzies to travel between his countries, especially with his surname of Wainwright and people knowing who his grandfather was?
So maybe with that, Bartholomew gives him a fake passport when they're going to the Maldives, and he's like, "What the fuck?"
No, it's fine, it's okay.
Yeah, that's it. And he's just like, "Oh no, don't worry. It's just because there's a tin pot dictator."
And people didn't like your grandfather because of humanitarian work.
And it's just like he couches it in clever bullshit, basically.
So what really happens to poor old Menzies is that over the course of the story, he's slowly indoctrinated
and he's made complicit.
Yes, in increasingly illegal and dangerous activities.
Yeah.
Now, what we really need is a crucial, pivotal scene with him and this journalist. What was she called? Well, did we give her a name? Did we give her a name?
Yes, Samantha Wicket.
Thank you, Samantha Wicket.
She's South African.
Oh, I do have it written here, Samantha Wicket. Yeah, so there's some kind of important culmination of information.
Yeah, but I think that's the next location.
Okay.
So I think there's the Maldives where he's given a mission, almost. It's something that he's meant to do for his...
By Bartholomew on behalf of his grandfather.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, almost a smuggling mission. So it's go here, do this.
Hey, can you just take this over here for me? Yeah.
This package, it's medical supplies.
Yeah.
Of course, a big old, like a war crate of medical supplies.
And the government where you're going don't want them to come into the country. Don't want this in the country because they don't want to help these people.
So yeah. So
here's a fake passport, right?
So it's like some like really dodgy. Maybe this is Syria.
Yeah, I like that.
So maybe this is Syria. So you take it into Syria because we want to get medical supplies to Syria. Who wouldn't want to do that, right?
Right.
Help the people in Syria.
Yeah.
So fantastic. And he's like, yeah, I want to be like my grandfather. I want to do something with my life. And then it
help people. Yeah.
Exactly. And so what is it? What's in the box?
Maybe that's not important for now as much as the journalist Samantha makes him question that. Did you ever ask yourself?
So she meets him again in Syria.
And like, what's in that box? What did Bartholomew give you? How long have you known him? A few days?
Ooh.
What's in that box? And he's like, oh, I don't know. And then there's that tearing...
Well, it's just like, it's medical supplies. It's like medicine, for the people.
Yeah, and he's convincing himself, of course, it's medicine.
Yeah, no, honestly, and he opens it up and there's obviously on the top of it, there's some medicine and he points at it and he's like, do you trust me?
Well, so maybe on that note then, he opens it up on top of medical supplies. They dig a little deeper and there's something not right, whatever that might be. And that's a pivotal moment where he starts to realise that perhaps the inner circle of his grandfather are not as squeaky clean as he thought. Now, at that
so maybe
point,
it's the person he takes it to in Syria who is really bad, really dodgy.
And he doesn't know at that point.
Works for the Assad regime.
or equivalent of our story, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe Menzies is forced to ask himself, was my grandfather complicit in this?
Yeah.
And therefore my whole family's a lie? Or is it just his friends like Bartholomew?
So I think there's a great point in this middle of the story in Syria where he meets the journalist again, and the journalist asks questions, and the journalist is really open with, here's some proof of some bodies I found with your father, that your father sent back all of them containing diamonds, all of them containing drugs and dodgy things. They say, what do you know about this? And he's like,
no.
And he refuses to accept it at this point. So this is like the ordeal. Just after the middle of the story where everything's, he's facing the big problem against the journalist, and the journalist in Syria, it's a war-torn area, it's all going terribly. And it's really dangerous, but he's trying to help people out, but he gets into this massive conflict with the journalist, who's like, your father was a criminal. And he's like, he's confronting him directly. Grandfather was a criminal. And he's confronting him directly with the information, and he's refusing to accept it at this point. And how does he get out of this situation? So she's presenting with like, not like bang for your buck, total proving evidence.
Enough to make him question
but he's in the place where he's not quite ready to accept it. So what happens at this point in Syria then? Maybe it's in a hospital She like encounters him again in a hospital. They have a polite hello, and she asks for an interview, and about your grandfather, and he's like, fine, my grandfather's the hero. And then she starts with the normal questions, and then she's like, photograph.
So his rejection of that information and the rejection of the idea that his grandfather was less than savoury has to have a negative fallout. It has to affect someone or some people, probably civilians in Syria. Somehow it's connected that his refusal of this, and therefore his desire to move onwards and continue with whatever plan he's actually just a pawn of, hurts people. So he actually delivers the thing, or he goes to meet a certain person, and that results in the death of a whole village of people somewhere in Syria.
Oh, okay,
right?
yeah. So he kind of, by his actions, he actually causes a bunch of death. Maybe in
Exactly.
poisoning or biological attack.
Something terrible.
Maybe he smuggles a biological weapon into Syria.
That's what he smuggled in.
So and he's earned millions for it,
Yes.
And hence the family fortune that this poor Menzies has to
Yes, and his
inherited.
grandfather's will have stated, I know you're a bit of a playboy and I want you to earn that money for yourself, so please, I want you to go to these places, see these people, and you'll have earned that money. You'll have done something worthy
So
of
she
it.
confronts him at this point, and I imagine he's going to have a little bit of a, no, that's not true.
That can't be true.
Yeah, so how does he react in this point when he's during this sort of intense interview with the journalist where he's been, so how does he leave? Does he run away? Does he go to the next location? What happens?
Yeah, he certainly runs away from her.
Yeah.
And I guess it's almost an aggressive reaffirmation of family ideals. Like, okay, if I am going to reject what she's saying, if I'm not with her and I'm against her, then I must be with my family. So, I'm going to go to this Syrian town and meet this guy and deliver these things. Yeah, I am my grandfather's grandson. And too late does he realise that actually being his grandfather's grandson means hurting people. Nice and simple, right? Whether he realises that then or later is a
I
different
think it should
matter
be. I think
entirely.
it shouldn't be until the climax.
Okay.
The last.
Where does he go?
So I'm thinking he's got to run away somewhere, and basically the journalist chases him.
I think it's got to be somewhere non-conflicty. So somewhere like in America or the UK where his family has roots.
I think it should be somewhere wealthy.
East Coast America.
I was almost thinking Hong Kong.
Oh, I love it. Hong Kong or Singapore.
Right, because that's kind of in a nexus point of trade and between many different areas.
And myriad mysteries.
Yeah.
And
It's either that or
conversations.
Singapore. It's your choice, really.
I think Hong Kong. I was born there, so I have
Oh, of
a
course,
natural
natural,
affinity
yeah.
with it, right? Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the final act, and he's in a rich hotel that, perhaps he meets a final friend of his father's who's like a facilitator, a banker, because it's Hong Kong, right?
Yes, but someone who's become somewhat disillusioned.
Yeah, I like
so
that.
they're still doing the deeds, but they're not happy about it, and either that outward attitude or something they
I actually think
say,
it should be the opposite, actually.
Ah.
So I think because he's getting disconcerted, this person should be extremely into his
Down
father's
the
stuff.
line, yeah.
Because then the journalist pulls him away from this world, so it's more extreme, more deadly for
Yeah, okay.
for young Menzies.
Young Menzies. I like how to check who we've written. Apparently we've written the name Menzies. So a climax in Hong Kong, a meeting with a man or a woman who is entirely
Like a banker, I think.
embodying
Like a Hong Kong banker, I'm thinking.
Yes, okay.
So like a financier who's moving the shadow money around.
That's it.
Yeah.
It keeps his whole family, keeps the whole Wainwright family in money. Because it reminds me of the Getty family.
That gives him a new passport, naturally.
You've probably heard of the Gettys in America, big oil family.
I know of them, I don't know much about
John Paul Getty and so on. And
Getty's Images.
Getty Images, that is theirs, yes. And the Getty Museum in LA, which we've been to, very nice. So I watched something called Trust or The Trust, the BBC made it. It's about the Gettys and about a kidnapping that happened. And Richard Sutherland plays the Getty Grand Patriarch. And he's explaining to the grandson, much like this actually, about how the Getty money works. And that their oil company never operates at a profit. They're always operating like at a deficit so that no one ever comes and asks them for more money or taxes them more money. But they have a trust that takes money from those earnings.
Yes,
so the
yes,
family has money, but the company doesn't.
So perhaps that's what's happening. This Hong Kong banker We can name them. We don't have to name them. I don't know. Do you have a name for the Hong Kong banker?
Giles.
Of course, Giles.
I was going to say Cumwich, but that's awful.
Giles.
Braggett.
Braggett. Yeah, I like kind of Braggart.
Braggett, because it's
Sneaton.
like Blaggard, yeah.
Braggart Sneaton, so it's a double name.
Okay, Giles Braggett Sneaton. Yes, Hong Kong financier, banker.
Yeah, and he's basically brings him in and explains the full story and says, welcome.
Yes, yeah. Imagining that by now, through all his travels, he's indoctrinated into this idea.
Yes, exactly.
Not realising that actually it's tipping him over the edge to realising that,
So this is the moment, this big meeting where he's like, this is your grandfather's millions, this is your grandfather's legacy, and you have to take it on.
Yes.
And then maybe he has, like, he's staying in this hotel and he meets the journalist again who's like tracking him in the same hotel. Maybe she's in a disguise, you know.
Yes, love that.
And meets him in the hotel and has a conversation with him just before, and right at the end he does a sort of like run away and take a plane and just fly. You know,
Yeah.
or get on a plane, maybe uses his passport again. But his real passport.
His real passport, which flags him up on someone's system, and he's, met at the destination airport by the police, and he's got to just say to them, admit, like, okay, yeah, I've been complicit in this is what our family does. Maybe he's even facing jail time at the end of the story, but his newfound principles and admission of the truth allow him basically to feel comfortable about it, and he impresses Samantha Wickett, the journalist, who finally finds him attractive for doing the right thing. And she says, when you're out of prison, I'll be waiting for you.
No, better than that. Okay, I like that.
Okay.
I think before that, they should have a cheeky steamy fuck just before the...
like that,
just awkward, it's a little bit weird.
Very human.
Yeah, and they both feel bad about it, right?
Yes,
they both
during and afterwards,
Yeah, so just like they do in all the movies.
Yeah.
It's just like a John Le Carré movie.
Yes, with some seedy hotel room with a slowly spinning ceiling fan.
So and that's how she like pumps information out of him. As it were. Right.
Pumps information.
That was inappropriate. I apologise.
You're a real Giles Braggett Sneaton, you know.
So yes. So finally at the end, but I think it should be more that he's caught but offers to testify to convince the whole network,
to lessen his own jail sentence, but also, more importantly for him, to just bring down,
to clean
this awful network of evil people doing evil things.
Yeah, basically smuggling diamonds in bodies and drugs in bodies, and
diamonds and organs in a way.
Yeah, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Not entirely consistent about what he's smuggling, I realise now at this point in the story, but
I reckon they smuggle rare minerals like diamonds and what have you. They also smuggle organs.
Lapis lazuli.
Lapis lazuli, yes. Yeah. And they actually, because his grandfather has these big conglomerates.
Was it lazuli? Anyway.
I never know, yeah. And they have big holding companies that own other companies. And one of those companies is a bioengineering company.
Ooh.
And that company, decades ago, or like a decade ago, created a natural looking virus like Ebola or something that they spread in Africa in order to get enough people ill to send them overseas full of diamonds and organs, right?
Yeah, and then they're going to sell this disease to the military.
I love that. So it's a whole trifecta. Minerals, organs, bioweapons, whatever it takes to make money and keep the family safe and secure.
Like the wonderful movie Chinatown, which everyone should watch.
Kurt Russell?
It's...
Oh, no, with Gene Hackman. I'm thinking of the other one.
No, the guy from The Shining. My brain is just... The main actor.
Nicholson?
Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson's the main guy.
That's Chinatown, right.
And it's this idea of the corruption starts in a small place, and there's just an oil slick that spreads and sticks and glues and keeps expanding throughout the whole story.
Are you saying we've created Chinatown?
It's not. Well, it's a little bit more world and jet setty than Chinatown, but it's got
I think we've captured a jet setty ideal with different locations, not just glamorous, but also
it's quite unglamorous. Our story.
We've got the Maldives, which gives the audience a nice glamorous break in
and Hong Kong,
the adventure. Hong Kong is
Syria,
glamorous.
not so much.
I guess you could make Syria glamorous
just
by being
place.
exotic, yeah.
Well, and it's also like a place of amazing history, Syria.
It is, yes, like the whole of the Middle East.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I think what we need to do is then come up with a name.
I think we've got to come up with a name for the movie, right?
Is it a movie?
I think it's a movie.
In which case, yeah.
This is definitely... It's either a movie or a novel. I can't see any other
Let's
angle.
just mention a few key points. Diamonds, organs,
Wainwright.
Doing the wrong thing, doing
Doctors
the right
Without
thing.
Borders.
Doctors Without Borders, war,
Doctors Without
conflict,
Diamonds.
Selfishness. Doctors Without Diamonds. Diamonds Without Borders.
I like that,
Right.
yes!
So we've done it.
Doctors Without
I like
Doctors.
how proud we are of ourselves. Diamonds. Oh, but it is because you're sending them borderless through these bodies.
Okay, well, definitely an interesting story and a lovely object.
No one steal our story, you
Yeah,
fucks.
and if you do steal it,
Give us some money.
50% at the minimum.
So
Right.
we're just like Carter Wainwright.
Yes.
Happy to take the money for securing our financial future.
Yes, so thank you very much for joining us on the Speculation Station podcast with myself, Tom.
And me, Will. We've been great to have you here. An interesting object with a great story, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You can join us next time for another object and another speculative discussion on whatever the hell it might be, whether it's a story or a concept. You will find us on...
YouTube, please click like, subscribe, and all that nonsense.
You'll find us on our website, thespeculationstation.com.
You'll also find us on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher,
Podcatcher.
G-Podder, wherever in the world that good podcasts are found, we'll be found.
If you go on Google and type us in, you will surely find us.
Most likely.
We will see you next time for another episode. Until then, we'll say goodbye and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Speculation Station.